Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have Neil on Burn versus Tyler on Ant. Very different decks. They're both basically combo decks. Burn, kind of a simpler combo. You're just trying to assemble 20 points of damage to the face as quickly as possible. And Tyler is going to find out the tough way here that Thoughtseize not exactly where you want to be versus Burn. He's going to pay a black and lose 2 life to prevent losing 3 in the future. Actually, Price of Progress probably would have done 4 damage, so there's that. Pretty easy to play around, however. Might actually have just prevented 2 damage. See what happens. Tyler could just have the coast clear, or he could have kept a hand. That would line up well versus the blue decks of the format. Burn really punishes kind of soft hands, bad mulligans. It can often just get you out of there by turn 3, turn 4 at the latest. So those speculative hands with brainstorms and ponders often just don't play out with Burn. Of course, they also have cards like Eidolon, really punish you for cantripping, causing extra damage. Get piled on, trying to make your deck work. Got another dual land, so Price of Progress, still a dangerous card off the top of the deck. Tyler not going to be able to play around it. Oh, getting back into Magic, having a great time. Good to see. Actually, Fire Blast. Going to be 2 mountains. Oh, and he did top deck another Price of Progress. So, Tyler still aware of the Fire Blast. Really like to see people just jumping into Legacy. I've noticed over the years it's very easy for people to kind of have an excuse to never play because, they want to get more prepared, they want to watch more videos, they want to kind of save up and get their deck to be totally perfect. That is not the way to go. You just want to jump in. Here, Neil got burned together, actually borrowing the Eidolons for now, and, just having some fun learning the format. Really happy to see it. Already won a match on camera. This is his second match. We'll see if he can win against one of the more difficult matchups. And this is not looking good. Got a whole bunch of rituals. Infernal Tutor had found a duplicate Dark Ritual, now pulling the same trick with Cabal Ritual. This is going to be a ton of mana. Cabal Ritual, one of my favorite cards in Magic, can allow you to play out of so many difficult spots. I've won with Tendrils versus onboard Trinispheres and Spheres of Resistance, all sorts of ridiculous board states, Thalias, you name it. Cabal Ritual has the raw power to allow you to sometimes play through onboard hate. And finally, finishing with a Tendrils Wishclaw Talisman, tutoring it up, finishing with a Tendrils double Dark Ritual, double Cabal Ritual, Infernal Tutor, Wishclaw Talisman. Not too difficult. With that hand, you just have to be capable of counting to 10. When it doesn't have any type of counter magic, that's the other side of this. Is Burn really doesn't have a ton of ways of interacting. Can punish your life total, making ad nauseum pretty awkward. I believe Tyler was the one telling the story about being able to cast Peer into the Abyss at 2 life against a Burn player and drew like 20-something cards off of it, paying 1 life, significantly better than ad nauseum in that situation. He'll have the play. And I would think Burn, are they favored on the play? I don't know. What do you think? I think Burn is favored on the play versus Tendrils. They've got Eidolon. They've got a bunch of sideboard possibilities. Cards like Roiling Vortex, possibly Null Rod. A lot of cards at 2 mana spot. Just kind of gets worse from there. Sulfuric Vortex, Pyrostatic Pillar. Pillar's probably more scary. Sulfuric Vortex might not actually be that amazing. This type of matchup, it's more for Uro and kind of repeated life gain. You don't really care that much about the Tendrils life gain. Though mini Tendrils can be a valid strategy versus Burn. I've done that many times. Fire off a Tendrils, gain like 10 life, and rebuild from there. Of course, that line does do quite poorly versus creatures, but if they have a hand that's just like a bunch of bolts, gaining that life can be really a problem. Hopefully more than 10 life. But a non-lethal Tendrils, an option in this matchup. Rarely is that the case, but playing against Burn, a line to keep in mind, though not necessarily a line you want to play towards. You really do want to just kill your opponent with Tendrils whenever possible. It's shiny. Can't deny that. Tyler, exceptional card choices for his deck, all sorts of beautiful stuff. Lotus Petal, it's a lot like land, not a land for purposes of Goblin Guide. Like he'll be playing around Price of Progress here. Goblin Guide can accumulate quite a bit of damage if left unchecked. It'll likely be left unchecked. Ant is not really the type of deck that's put anything in front of that Goblin Guide. Likely need to keep your removal for things like Eidolon and Pyrostatic Pillar. Just a good card here. So one of my favorite things to do with Tendril style decks is out-goblining a goblin player. If somebody puts out a Goblin Guide, there's just something really fun about putting like 18 goblins on board. Also a good time versus just legacy goblins. Deck that we haven't seen on the channel in a little while. Abrupt Decay is going to be incoming. That, oof. Basic Island is not a combo. Duress, significantly better than Thoughtseize, and we see a couple of Pyroblasts and a Rift Bolt. The Rift Bolt's going to go. Sorry, Red Elemental Blast. Functionally very similar, though you can't play those to trigger your Monastery Swift Spear. Eidolon off the top, absolutely brutal. Best possible draw there. Is exactly where you want to be. Eidolon's going to make it very difficult for Tyler to combo out. He's already taken some damage. Early Eidolon with no other help isn't actually as strong as people would think. I've had people turn one Eidolon against me and just straight up killed them like it wasn't even there. Playing out a bunch of acceleration and just playing a Tendrils, like literally just 9 spells plus Tendrils. I took 18 off of their Eidolon. They were very disappointed in that. I can't fault them. I suppose I would be disappointed as well. Abrupt Decay does take out the Eidolon. Skewer the critics. Roiling Vortex is going to make it pretty difficult to figure out a way through this. That Lotus Petal not going to be helpful. And that's going to do it for game 2. Tyler will have the play game 3, where I suspect he'll be favored. Tough for Tyler, a mull to 5. Skipping over a bunch of shuffling for you. Big decision about what to bottom here. Oh, good lord. Lotus Petal Ponder. This is a disaster. That has got to be about as bad as it gets. He does find a volcanic island. A great start here with Goblin Guide. Oh, but it actually gives Tyler a land. Undoing... What in the... Oh, that's the land he just drew. Okay. For a split second there, I was like, there's no way he Lotus Petals just when he has access to Volcanic. So, anyways, he's got a Wish Claw down. That is actually pretty significant and a great improvement with these Ant and Test lists. The ability to get down a Wish Claw Talisman with mana from previous turns, kind of lightening the load for the critical combo turn. You pay 1 mana to activate the Wish Claw instead of the 3 total. 2 for the Wish Claw, 1 for the activation. Claws in multiple, that can also be a thing. Get down a couple of Wish Claws, go to your combo turn. There, having already paid in installments. Seiju comes down. One of the cleanest answers to just about everything this deck dislikes. Just 1 green, discard it, not a spell. You get a land, but you're not really concerned about that. It's like Tyler's recovering here from this mull of 5 and needing to use a Lotus Petal. It's a LED that I didn't quite catch going into the bin. I would do 5 to Tyler. As a Wish Claw Talisman. Very rare. Worth it to pass it back and allow them to use it. You're generally just going to be using it for the win. Oh, and Past in Flames. Look at that. The card is much maligned lately, but the ability to replay Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and now Infernal Tutor, and he gets there. Neil, a fistful of burn, just not quite. Boy, having watched that, I feel like another Pyrostatic Pillar instead of those Roiling Vortexes may be the play. I'll have to see what Neil thinks about that, but that Roiling Vortex, the fact that Tyler comboed off with that on the table when I just said it, the other Eidolon, Pyrostatic Pillar, that would have been much more impactful. So thanks for watching. And I guess in the comments, let me know what you think the best sideboard 8 is for Burn this matchup.